host, Joie Roberts. Part 2 with Jamie Davidson, starting right now. Last week in part 1, we dug into Jamie's selling story. He's been selling for over a decade in iPhone cases, iPad cases, and the thrills of that. If you haven't heard that episode, go ahead, listen to this one, and then hop back over and check out his selling story. And Jamie, what else did we cover?
A lot of it is just if you are selling today, what it takes in terms of to succeed on Amazon, in terms of PPC, Amazon advertising, that it's a lot more complex than it was back in the day when we were building our brand, and we had just we did it manually with like a lot of labor. And while you still can use individuals and have you want to have people, you pretty much have to use tools and AI, and really quote unquote as we call it the machine to be successful this day and age, to really grow your brand and get the financial results that you want.
Exactly. So that's a great segue into what does it take to sell on Amazon and the exciting stuff that we get to do now, because so much has developed, and you and I are both super into investing in learning what is new and testing and trying. And that's where AI has come in and been beneficial for both of us in our selling journey and in our career path. So what's hot for AI right now, and what are you into?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that are really big right now. I mean, obviously, when you think of AI, people think of naturally, ChatGPT, OpenAI there, and these emerging other competitive models, things like DeepSeek and some of the other ones that are emerging well too. And then there's these things called like wrappers that are things like Perplexity. So these aren't separate learning models themselves, but they leverage the ChatGPT models as well too. But then if you come into Amazon itself, Amazon is investing, and we were at the conference in Seattle conference. They talk about everything was AI, 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 and so there's kind of two parts I think about it. There's things that you as a seller, or if if you're a service provider and you're building your business, there's things that you can kind of create and leverage and figure out in terms of it comes to AI. And then there's AI that's being built in for you by Amazon that's really available to everyone. And then it may be a matter of educating yourself, like what is available and how do I leverage this to my benefit. Right. So there's kind of two buckets, like, hey, what can you do yourself, and what is Amazon doing on their end? Because on their end, they're going to do, they're putting hundreds of billions of dollars towards this stuff. And because they know there's this race versus these other platforms in the competition. And so that being the case, one is just you need to be up to speed on what is going on, and kind of both of these two buckets, right? In terms of how do you leverage things like ChatGPT or Claude or any of the basically the learning models to your benefit, leveraging, again, sometimes third-party Amazon tools that, again, are incorporating these in there, from everything from creating your listing to product research, analyzing, the pros and cons of why you should sell a product, why should you not sell a product, which I know is a point you bring up a lot. There's all this stuff you can do with the available AI tools that are available. And then there's things on the Amazon side, which I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit, things like the Amazon Marketing Cloud, which most people don't understand. 99.5% of people are not using it yet. And it's an awesome opportunity for you as a seller to do it if you understand what it is and how do you take advantage of it.
Yeah, good points on all of that. You can really implement AI into every single part of selling. So let's talk about Amazon Marketing Cloud in just a second, but you mentioned product development, and that is being built in everywhere. I feel like then every tool I seem to be opening is like, oh, and now we can get ChatGPT suggestions on how to improve a product, which excites me as not only an Amazon seller, but also as somebody who shops on Amazon a lot. I'm like, great, I'm going to be getting better and better and more improved products hitting the market, because ChatGPT is like, hey, this is, the cool more ways you can even enhance and make products even better. Also, with creating product listings and advertising, like ads, like actually creating your ads. There's so many AI tools built in. And Amazon, when we were at their the Accelerate event, they unveiled in Seattle, they unveiled this super cool way that you can just use your images and pictures that you already have and turn it into videos for advertising. So it's just showing that Amazon is working hard with AI to make selling for us even better.
Yeah, there's so much going on. And what I always like to talk about when we talk about AI, and you and I both talk about these in online events or in-person events, we're asked to speak on AI a decent amount just because um, we implement it into our businesses a lot. And
Yeah.
so, from that perspective, I always think of, AI is such a broad word or buzzword that, always bring it back to how can you make it usable for yourself? Like, how can you make it benefit you and your business, like right now? And you can go down this endless rabbit hole because it's so powerful because you have like, this genius right at your side at all times now, like this all knowing thing, which is great in itself. But then that's a lot of it, for information and answering questions and different things. Now, things are evolving more in 2025 around building agents. Like that's the kind of the next level of how you connect all this amazing information with basically agents that can do things, right? And so that's like ChatGPT, their most expensive model right now, which is the $200 a month model, that allows you to develop processes and tasks where it will go out, you'll give it a command, and then it will go do a series of things, for you and come back to you like several days later with what it found and the work it did and everything else. So, and basically this agent idea where you can basically have it move towards doing kind of independent work for you. So there's that aspect of things that continue to evolve, and you want to make sure that you understand, how can you leverage that for yourself. And then, on the Amazon side specifically, we talked about AMC, which is the Amazon Marketing Cloud. I think that is kind of the hottest thing right now for sellers to be able to take advantage of. It's a little bit on one hand, you don't need to spend as much money as you did with DSP, which typically DSP you want to be spending a good amount of $10,000 a month or more on PPC. And with AMC, the Amazon Marketing Cloud, it is similar in that you do need to get access through one of the approved uh, vendors, basically. I don't know,
Like
BidX
BidX,
is one
yeah.
of the BidX is approved, so I know people can. We actually did a webinar with this with Andy from BidX about anyone can get BidX will basically hook you up for free to get access. So I'm sure there'll probably be something in the show notes if you guys want to get access to it. That's really the only requirement is you need a gateway, like you need an approved provider to get you access to the Amazon Marketing Cloud, and then from there you can really make some really cool things happening. So the coolest thing about AMC in terms of you think about AI, and at the end of the day, AI is not so much about AI; it's more about the functionality, right? What can I do that is beneficial? So one of my favorite thing about AMC, the Amazon Marketing Cloud, is the audiences that you can now advertise to, right? So we talked about, last week we talked about PPC and how, traditional Amazon advertising, you're doing things like exact match and phrase match, um, and broad match and auto campaigns, which is fine. It's like, oh, well, who's that target? How's it targeting people? It's targeting people that search for that term. All right, that's not bad. That's obviously relevant. But
Yeah.
how do you advertise more dynamically, like the way you can do on, for example, Facebook? Like on Meta ads, the power of Meta and Facebook is, and the reason why, frankly, Facebook is worth, you know, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars is because of the underlying data that you can advertise in all different ways. And just AMC allows you to do that for Amazon now. So an easy example is, for example, to retargeting, for example, anyone who has been in your cart, anyone who's added your product to cart. would be one, or people that are very similar to the type of people that have added to carts. So you can basically do like a lookalike audience and go out and pull those people, put your product in front of those people. You can do basically a series of just these uh, targeting lists that is completely different than purely getting people that are just purely searching for your product, but instead, targeting and retargeting, which is really the name of the game. And I know this from years in not only the e-commerce space, but the digital marketing space, that you need to be able to follow up with people, and people need to see, sometimes they need to see it, numerous times. That's where the real money is made, when you can retarget customers. And so AMC gives you the ability to do that. So that is, super powerful. There's more to it than that. There's this whole funnel concept. And Amazon is really pulling data from a lot of different sources to make all of this happen. Again, instead of just, hey, who's searching for the product, but it's really leveraging all of the customer journeys throughout, the hundreds of millions of people that are on Amazon, kind of mapping out the customer journeys and allowing you to filter some of those people into your product, depending on their journey.
Yeah. And for shoppers, like if I shop for something, say I'm looking for like a workout gear and you're looking for workout gear, we should not be served the same results. Like I should have a customized experience different from yours. And so AMC is like providing that more customized shopping experience. And it's good for the sellers, right? Because our products can follow them, retarget based on searches, audience, all of that. But it's also a better experience for everybody on Amazon.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things competitively, though, that you either stay up on these things and you implement them, or you lose customer share. So it's not
Yeah.
just an offensive strategy. It's a defensive element, because let me take an example. So, I like to use the lacrosse. We use a lot of massage ball products we've sold as well too, like sporting goods and our sporting good brands. And, so I have people right now that have added my product to their cart, right? And I'm not using AMC at all, but they've added them to my cart or to the wish list, right? So a lot of people shop on Amazon. They're like, oh, I want to get this, or I saw this thing, I want to remember it, but I don't want to buy it right now. I just want to keep it. So
Yeah.
they put it in their cart, and then they maybe move it to like save for later, right? So there's a lot of people have lots of things and save for later, or they move it to like their specific wish list for whatever. And it's sitting there. Well, your competition now can go through AMC, can now go, hey, give me people that are interested in this product, that are the type of people that would be in my cart, or other people like that. And now my products, right, the products I'm selling that are on people's, they haven't bought them yet, but they're either in their cart or they're saved for later. Now my competition can basically serve up this product in front of them based on knowing, oh, this customer, if it was you, if you were the customer, like, oh, Joie, has this lacrosse massage ball in her wish list, or, save for later. Hey, let me show my product for her, and let's see if she'll buy it right now. Right. Of course, that's highly effective, because like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to get that. And or that one looks cool, and you can do it. I mean, you think about Amazon when they started, you can advertise based on other people's product detail pages, right? Like, hey, someone's on your page and the Amazon shows a competitor product. Well, this is even worse,
Yeah.
because you're not even being shown, right? But they're using your data, or your customers' journeys that got all the way to you, and now they're being basically redirected all the way to a competitor, if the competitor is taking advantage of AMC. So you want to make sure that you're certainly taking a hard look at implementing tools like this.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because we started off this conversation with you saying that not a lot of sellers are taking advantage of AMC. So you're listening to this right now. You have a competitive advantage to look into AMC. We'll put a link in the show notes below of how to uh, get access to see if your brand is ready for AMC and what AMC can provide you. And again, you have to go through an approved partner from Amazon. So BidX is happy to take a look with you.
Yeah, because that is a question we get sometimes, is, like, if you're familiar at all with Meta ads or Facebook ads and the ads manager there, you go right in there and you can it's all included there. You can do all of the retargeting. You can load up your own. If you have your own customers, you can create customers and create lookalike audiences from your previous customers. So then go find more customers like that. So we get people like, yeah, that sounds amazing. I want to go do that in my Amazon platform. They go in their platform. They're like, I don't see it. Where is this? Like, yeah, you're right. Because it's not there. You've got to get hooked up. It's free. You can get, I know, like you said, I know that you can give them the hookup for free. But it's not in there unless you get connected with an approved partner, as you mentioned.
Yeah, there's a lot of data and information being shared back and forth too. So you want to talk to somebody who's been doing this. BidX has been doing this for a long time now, since they were one of the first to be approved with Amazon. So that's one really amazing competitive edge with AI that is really shaking it up for 2025. So it's fun. Get your brand out there. What else are we looking at? My head is spinning with like so many other things. Obviously, we talked about DSP in part one, so we don't really have to go into that. There's like the retail ads for business to business that has come out. I mean, there's a lot. Like this is an exciting time to be growing your brand.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to the point where you need to be leveraging AI tools or AI kind of enabled softwares that are. I mean, now if you're doing things manually, completely, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah,
And
good point.
continue to educate yourself, right, in terms of how you can leverage these tools. You can use the tools themselves to help figure this stuff out too. Like you can just ask ChatGPT, like, "Hey, how do I use this for my PPC? How do I do AMC? How do I, what am I missing to do like it?" Just you can use the tools to help you even understand what you don't know. Like like you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know what to ask or what you're to figure out. But really, every aspect of your brand and business is you can do things better and faster uh, with these things. And, that's within the Amazon tool. And then, through third party tools and things like your own websites and the ability to communicate with customers off of Amazon. Like, again, there's all these things they all tie together in terms of the success of the business, but really, really important to stay up to speed on.
And yeah, you just made me think of PPC audits. It's really changing how you can get a PPC audit because it's really more of like a whole holistic approach to everything going on, and you can use Amazon ads and then all the other offerings, because before it was really like, let's look at your PPC, what are you doing on Google ads and social media, and we're kind of like, okay, yeah, that's kind of what it is. And now it's like, wow, there's so many different options available. So getting with the right partner for Amazon ads, and I guess advertising in general, is where you're going to get that competitive edge. Somebody who can really audit everything that you're doing to see, okay, is it time for DSP? Maybe you do AMC first. It depends exactly where you're at, what you've grown, and what your goals are, right? Like for your business, Jamie, you grew into a lot of B2B. Like you were selling direct to consumer, and then you ended up going B2B. How did that even come about?
Yeah, so we've done over time just naturally a lot of different channels. So we expanded out into other platforms like Walmart and internationally into all the marketplaces in South America and Europe and Japan, etc. And then we also went into retail with things like, cell phone accessories primarily. So even things like Lowe's and Best Buys and Walmarts and all those type of things. The B2B stuff, some of it comes through Amazon too. I mean, Amazon is big, right? It's one of those areas where Amazon wants to get better at and provide you incentives to do well in the B2B. So you can leverage it through the Amazon platform. So they'll advertise because they know it's like a really important channel because B2B customers tend to repeat. And if they had Amazon, just like, I worked at Home Depot. Home Depot really same thing. They wanted like, the people that are home builders or contractors, like those are really valuable customers because they're just going to keep coming back. The same thing, but But yeah, we got involved with it really because of Amazon initially approaching us around, hey, the B2B channels. And then you can do it externally as well too, like with schools. Like for our cases, we had like iPad cases, and so yeah, a lot of schools, wanted to buy. They have all these iPads, but they need to protect them all from with kids. So they're out there to buy, large orders and quantities of there. So it kind of depends, of course, on your product, what angles, but there's so many possibilities now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Well, congratulations on all your success. That's awesome that you have grown from. I mean, I know your story, but you did start selling out of your neighbor's garage when you first started selling.
Yeah, yep. No, back in the day, and my my neighbor Jason, who's a Chinese native but been in the U.S. for about 20 plus years. Yeah, was doing his little side hustle to replace the income of his wife Sarah, who was staying home with their young kids, and she was making about 90,000 a year, and then quickly became a whole different animal. We see this became, instead of something that was going to be a multi six figure, that this could be a seven figure, eight figure, and eventually nine figure, with a couple hundred team members. So yeah, it is, incredible what you can do with these businesses nowadays. The last thing I would share too, just on the AI front, is to pay attention to,
Uh-huh.
is about how people are searching for products now too, is these language learning models. So ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Grok, right? All these Claude, Google's, all the major handful of versions of things. More and more users are looking for products, right? So, like, again, think of yourself as a customer. Um, again, I know Joey and Joy, we both use it a ton. If you know, if I'm looking for a product now, you know, the process now, I'm not really going to YouTube as much and looking for a video. I'm more asking ChatGPT about, like I had a knee procedure recently, so I'm like, all right, I need to ice my knee, and so I may ask ChatGPT some questions, and I'll be like, hey, what are the best best ice sleeves I should get, or whatever the situation is, right? People are interacting constantly with these things, so you want to understand about, is Amazon good, or is ChatGPT or one of these models going to recommend your product or not? Because when I ask
Mhm.
it as a user, it's giving me like four products to go check out, and they're Amazon listings, right, to click. So just like we talk about, and this all changed quickly because we've been talking about the last couple of years about outside traffic and how important it is for your product to rank on Google. All right. Well, quickly, it's the same thing. Same thing with Perplexity, right? Any of these models where people are using them to ask questions, it's just natural that they're going to be like, all right, you gave me this information. What's the best blah, blah. Same questions you might ask in Amazon, like, best swim goggles or best whatever. Well, now you're asking in these platforms. And so you're going to want to understand how to optimize your product so that you can drive traffic to Amazon, which they love. How you're, basically ranking on these platforms outside of Amazon through the AI platforms as well.
Yeah, really good point. Uh, I love asking it for product recommendations. So yeah, you definitely want to be getting your products keywords and everything. And I would guess we could do a whole nother part on Rufus alone, right? Like when all the questions that Rufus is pulling from your listing. So
Yes,
yes,
yes. Yeah, Rufus
optimization.
is the internal Amazon AI platform. So yes, certainly there. So it's both internally there and then the external sources as well. But absolutely, yeah, it's an emerging one. We can dive into more, and I'm sure another time. But that's one that's figuring out how do you get your product relevant in those models is really important.
It is, and it's going to be really important and evolve. I think it's going to evolve a lot through this year, and that might be one of the big ways that things change is how we get our products into open AI because there's a little bit talk of it now, but everything's going to evolve so much. So this year into next year is going to be just crazy. And I think the shopping experience too is going to be shaken up a lot too and more catered, or what am I trying? Personalized experience, right? I'm so big on you and I should not have the same search results. Like, completely different people. Like our search results should be different.
That makes total sense.
And how we balance that. Well, Jamie Davidson, this part 2 has been absolutely awesome. Thank you for some killer tips with AI, and we'll see you back here again soon.